Guys, it's a comedy show. You're going to be okay.
There's too many comics to really name, but I think off the top of my head, three that are really important. I love George Carlin, which almost everybody does. He was one of the forerunners of comedy. He started in the 1950s and continued up to, I think, 2008. And what I loved about him is he had so many different periods in his career. He had like a silly PG comedian on television, and then he had a hippie period, and then he had sort of a resurgence of the silly thing again, where he was talking about language, and then he had just a bitter old man period from about 1990 to when he died. And I love watching artists who change. Like I love David Bowie and the Beatles and Bob Dylan, people who are willing to take their art and turn it on its head and invite their audience to come along with them. I think are really exciting. In terms of material, I have always loved Louis C.K.'s material. I think it's very funny, very raw, very honest. Obviously, not a fan of what he did off stage, but he's still an amazing writer. And I think there's a lot to be learned about joke structure from watching Louis. In terms of the third comedian, there's so many to choose from. I'd almost prefer to say comedy scene because there's so many comedians who've influenced me from New York City. And I've gone there a few times. My wife is from America, so I go over there occasionally. And just being enmeshed in that culture, you can do 4 or 5 gigs a night, and you're butting up against really different perspectives, people from all over the world. You know, I've worked with people from the Middle East, people from France and Germany and India, and they all come together in this one amazing city of comedy. And you can just see so many great acts there that you would never have even heard of otherwise. Like Brian Scott McFadden, one of the best comics working the circuit there. There's some great Australians there. There's Amos Gill is living there now. There are Dave Attell, who's like one of the best comedians alive today, possibly ever. And there's nowhere else in the world where you can go and you can be around the best talent in the world, the absolute newcomers and everything in between from all over the world sharing comedy with one another. So I would say that's my third biggest influence is just the melting pot that is the New York comedy scene.